Hi, and welcome to Understanding the Skilled Trades in Ontario. This is a key part of the Credential Recognition Program's group mentorship for the skilled trades. As the senior leader of the Credential Recognition Program, I want to thank you for being here today. Your presence and participation are vital as we explore Ontario's skilled trades system, the job opportunities and financial supports available. Today is designed to equip you with essential knowledge and skills to succeed in the skilled trades, a sector with growing demand and competitive salaries. Your active engagement in discussions and activities will help you connect your unique skills and experiences with the opportunities available in Ontario, making this session a crucial step in your career journey and helping to make today a success. The Credential Recognition team is here to help you every step of the way. This includes career counseling for starting an apprenticeship or completing your trades equivalency assessment application, and you'll hear from IFTAS on later today. Today's group mentorship session, connecting you with employers at our planned April employer panel, and providing access to low interest financing and other financial supports. These resources are all designed to make your journey smoother and more successful. So my name is Laurie, and I'm here to guide you through today's session. This workshop is designed to help you understand the opportunities that are available in Ontario's skilled trades and how you can pursue a career in this field. About me. So I'm the Director of Programs at the Ottawa Community Loan Fund, and I provide senior leadership to the Credential Recognition Program. Pictured below is our team, and you'll get to meet many of us as you move through the program. I've worked in construction in Ottawa, I've taught in the trades at St. Lawrence College, and I've developed trade skills development programs with many past employers. What all that means is that I know the trade sector well. This workshop, you'll better understand Ontario's skilled trade system. You'll be able to distinguish between compulsory and voluntary trades. You'll recognize and understand key terms used in Ontario's trade system and the certification process involved. You'll identify roles of key organizations in the trade sector, and you'll be able to explain how trades are regulated in Ontario. Hopefully you'll be able to find some job opportunities. You'll discover what jobs are in demand. You'll learn about different workplaces. You'll understand different job requirements and know where to start looking for those opportunities. After this workshop, you'll also be able to know what grants and loans you can get to help you pay for apprenticeship and training, or even the certification process if trades equivalency assessment is your pathway. You'll understand how to get help to pay for tools and training. You can use our tips for budgeting to help you manage your household expenses while you're training, and you'll understand how credit is used in Canada. I'm going to ask Carlene now to pause the presentation, and you're all going to participate in a really fun activity, Trading Skills Bingo. So the purpose of this is to learn what your experience is and to help everybody else in the room get to know you. Take some time, get out of your seat, walk around, and meet everybody. And I'll look forward to connecting when you're back. So what is a skilled trade? It's a job where you work with your hands. You build, fix, or make things, and it's specialized hands-on work. It combines technical knowledge with practical skills. So you learn those practical skills from experienced workers, and that technical knowledge you gain by attending school. It's going to take several years to complete an apprenticeship. It often involves working with specific tools and equipment. You'll work with special equipment. You learn how to use those tools safely. And every trade has an established standard of practice. You've got to do the work correctly. You have to pass tests. And for some trades, you may need other certifications. For example, if you work in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, you are likely to need a TSSA gas technician certificate. In Ontario, there are 144 recognized trades. When you want to identify a trade that interests you, it helps to think of it as being grouped into 4 areas or sectors. So what is a trade sector? It's a group of trades that do similar kinds of work. Each sector has its own types of jobs. Each sector has different workplaces. And each sector needs different skills and tools. But they all have some key characteristics. The first of which is skill development. This is where we combine theoretical knowledge with practical application. You'll go to school to get that theoretical knowledge, and you'll learn the practical side on the job. It requires ongoing learning and skill refinement, so you learn throughout your career. It often includes both technical and problem-solving skills. You may need math and science knowledge. It includes safety awareness and risk management. What's a training structure? Usually, a trade is learned through an apprenticeship. It combines on-the-job training with in-class learning. And an apprenticeship is great because it gives you the chance to earn an income while you're learning. Typically, it's 2 to 5 years to achieve your certification. There's often a mentorship component, meaning that you'll work with an experienced tradesperson to learn your trade. And you'll probably be required for ongoing upgrading and certification as you move through your career. There's some really important things you need to know. Some trades work in more than one sector. So an electrician, for example, can work in construction or in the industrial sector. If they work in construction, they're likely helping to build new homes, hospitals, schools, those types of construction sites. Or they could work in an industrial sector where they're working in a factory. Each sector, and this is important, each sector has different working hours, different physical demands, different work locations, different work environments, different tools and equipment. But the one thing that brings us all together is that all sectors need safety training, good work habits, problem-solving skills, and communication skills. Those problem-solving skills, communication skills, good work habits, those are some of the transferable skills that you may have if you're entering the skilled trades from another sector. So what about the construction sector? They build new homes, buildings, and structures. They can fix and maintain existing buildings. They install systems in buildings, so electrical and plumbing. They work on construction sites, read blueprints and building plans, or they can work in infrastructure, build and repair roads and highways, work on bridges and tunnels, build water and sewer systems, construct subway and transit systems, work on power and communication systems. So now let's talk about what it's really like to work in the construction sector in Ontario. It's important to understand not just the skills you need, but also where you'll be working and what your day might look like. Construction workers don't often stay in one place. They may work in different locations. You might work on a building project like new houses and apartment buildings, office buildings and shopping centers, schools, hospitals, or an infrastructure project like roads and highways, bridges and tunnels, water and sewer systems, The important thing to remember is that your workplace will change. You might work at one building site for several months and then move to a completely different location when that project is finished. Most construction work happens outdoors. So that means you'll work in all kinds of weather, hot summers and cold winters. You need proper clothing for different weather conditions. Some work slows down during the winter months. You might have days when you can't work because of bad weather. In Ontario, we have very hot summers, very cold winters, so be prepared for both. Construction work is physical. On a typical day, you might lift and carry heavy materials, climb ladders and stairs, stand for most of the day, bend, kneel, and work in different positions. Use your hands for detailed work. This means you need to be physically fit, know how to lift properly to avoid injuries, take safety seriously, be comfortable working with your hands, have good balance and coordination. And construction usually has these hours. Early start times, often 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. Standard 8-hour work days. Sometimes longer days to meet deadlines. Occasional weekend work. More work is available in the spring and summer. Your schedule will depend on your specific job and project deadlines. Some projects might require shift work, especially in busy cities or on roads where daytime work would cause too much traffic. Construction is team-based work. You'll work alongside other trades. Everyone has a specific job but must coordinate. You'll report to supervisors and foremen. You'll need to communicate clearly with your team and with the other trades. You might train or supervise apprentices if you gain experience. For example, in a house building project, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, and other trades all work together but do different parts of the job. Safety is extremely important in construction. You need to wear proper safety equipment. Hard hats, safety boots, high visibility vests are standard. You need specific safety training and certificates. Regular safety meetings happen on the job sites. You must follow all safety rules and regulations. And in Ontario, you need certain safety certificates before you can work on a construction site. Your employer will usually tell you which ones they need and help provide you with that training. So, the environment on a construction site. Construction sites are often noisy with machinery and tools. They're sometimes dusty and dirty. They're constantly changing as work progresses. They're full of different materials and equipment. They're busy with many workers doing different tasks. And you'll need to be comfortable in this type of active and changing environment. Working in construction has many benefits. You can see the results of your work. You gain practical and valuable skills. You work with your hands to create something real. This work is active. It's not sitting at a desk. You can take pride in buildings and structures you help create. And it's really something when you drive around the city and you're able to point to a building with your family and say, I helped build that. I've had that happen and I love it. And your skills will always be needed. So to summarize, construction in Ontario means working outdoors in changing weather, physical work that requires strength and skill, moving between different job sites, working with teams of other trades, following strict safety rules, and taking pride in creating buildings and structures. Now let's talk about what it's like to work in the industrial sector in Ontario. The industrial sector is very different from construction, with its own work environment and conditions. Unlike construction, industrial trades usually work in fixed locations. For example, manufacturing plants, factories, production facilities, processing plants, assembly plants. The important difference is that you'll usually go to the same workplace every day, not moving between different job sites. Your workplace building stays the same, though the work you do might change. Most industrial work happens indoors. What this means is you're protected from weather conditions. The temperature is usually controlled. The work continues year-round at a steady pace. You'll work in the same environment daily. You become very familiar with your facility. So this creates more consistent working conditions than construction. But still can be physically demanding, but in different ways. Standing for long periods of time at machines or production lines. Lifting and moving materials and parts. Operating equipment and machinery. Making precise movements repeatedly. Working with tools and instruments. This means you have to have good stamina for standing, know proper body mechanics to prevent strain, be comfortable with repetitive tasks, have good hand-eye coordination, be able to maintain focus on detailed work. Industrial facilities often operate differently than construction. Many run multiple shifts, such as day, evening, or night shifts. Some operate 24 hours a day. Standard 8-hour shifts are common. Shift premiums may be paid for evening or overnight work. It's more consistent year-round work. There's less seasonal variation than construction. As a new worker, you might start on an evening or a night shift before moving to the day shift as you gain experience. Let's talk more about shift work, which is common in industrial settings. The day shift is typically 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Afternoon evening is 3 to 11. Night shift is 11 to 7 a.m. Some companies use rotating shifts where your schedule will change. Others allow workers to stay on fixed shifts. Shift work can affect your daily life and your sleep patterns, so it's important to think about this when you're considering industrial work. Industrial work is often highly team-oriented. You may work on a production line with others. Each person has a specific responsibility, and teams often work to meet production. You coordinate closely with operators and technicians. Maintenance trades support production. For example, in a food processing plant, machine operators, quality control technicians, and maintenance personnel all work together to keep production running smoothly. Safety is extremely important in industrial settings. Specific safety equipment is required. Safety glasses and hearing protection are the most common. Lockout, tagout procedures for machine maintenance. Chemical safety training may be required. Regular safety drills and meetings happen. Strict procedures for operating machinery. In Ontario, you'll need specific safety training for your workplace. Many industrial facilities have their own safety orientation programs. So about the industrial environment. These are often noisy due to machinery and equipment. They're fast-paced to meet production goals. They're well organized with specific work areas. They're subject to quality control standards. They're clean and maintained for efficiency, and they're temperature controlled for production needs. Some facilities may have special requirements like clean rooms for electronics or temperature controlled area for food processing. The industrial sector includes many types of manufacturing: automotive, food and beverage, pharmaceutical, electronics, metal fabrication, plastics production, furniture making, paper and printing, and each type has specific working conditions, but all share the common industrial environment. Working in the industrial sector has many benefits: consistent work location and hours, year-round employment, climate-controlled environments, opportunity to work with advanced technology, clear procedures and processes, often includes benefit packages, skills that transfer between different industries. To summarize, the industrial sector in Ontario means working indoors in manufacturing facilities, possible shift work, physical work with machinery and equipment, being a part of a production team, following strict safety and quality procedures, year-round steady employment. So what is motive power? Motive power means anything that moves or has an engine. In this sector, you fix vehicles and engines. You maintain moving equipment. You repair machine parts. You check if vehicles are safe. You fix problems with engine. So what are those working conditions? Because you know they're going to be different than construction and industrial. So now we'll look at those working conditions in the motive power sector. So remember that motive power includes all trades that work on vehicles and equipment that move, like cars, trucks, buses, and heavy equipment. Motive power trades work in various facilities. Automotive repair shops, it's the most common. Car and truck dealerships. Fleet maintenance facilities. Heavy equipment repair centers. Public transit maintenance depots. Marine repair facilities. There's not a lot of those in Ottawa. Mobile repair services. Unlike construction sites that often change, or fixed industrial plants, motive power technicians usually work in dedicated repair facilities, but might work on different vehicles each day. So what's a shop environment like? Most motive power work happens in a shop environment. Those are indoor facilities with large bay doors. They have concrete floors with vehicle lifts, specialized repair areas for different systems, tool storage and parts departments, customer service areas, and a mix of new high-tech and traditional equipment. These shops protect you from most weather, but those bay doors can be open, and so temperatures can vary, especially in the winter. And think about the snow on a car when it comes into the garage in the wintertime. Motive power work requires specific physical abilities. You will work in awkward positions to access vehicle parts. You'll be bending, kneeling, and reaching under vehicles, lifting heavy parts and components, using hand tools and power tools. You need fine motor skills for detailed work. You need good hand-eye coordination. So this means that you need to be physically fit and flexible. Know how to protect your back and knees. Have good dexterity for small parts. And be comfortable in confined spaces. You need to have strength for handling heavy parts as well. Think about changing the tires on a car, changing the tires on a transport truck. So typically, a motive power facility will operate on these schedules. They have regular business hours between 8 and 5 p.m. for general repair shops. There may be some extended hours for dealerships and service centers. There will be shift work for fleet maintenance and transit facilities. There are emergency repair services that may have on-call weekend hours. Weekend work is common in customer service facilities. It's steady work year-round with less seasonal variation. Your schedule will depend on where you work. Dealerships and retail shops often have evening and weekend hours. Think of your local Canadian Tire. When are they open? You likely will need to be there during those opening hours. Well, fleet maintenance might use shifts to keep vehicles running. So think of our supply chain and keeping the trucks on the road. That's going to require that you maybe have to work shift work. In the motive power sector, your work will vary based on your specialty. Maintenance and preventative services, diagnostics and troubleshooting, component repair and replacement, rebuilding engines or transmissions, electrical and computer system work, body repair and refinishing, safety inspections and certifications. Each day will bring different vehicles and different problems to solve, creating a good variety in your work. Modern vehicles require working with advanced technology, using computer diagnostic equipment, digital service information, electronic testing tools, computerized systems in vehicles, specialized repair equipment, and hybrid and electric vehicle systems. There's a real demand for automotive repair people that can deal with those. Technology in vehicles is constantly changing, so continuous learning is a key part of those motive power trades. Many motive power technicians need to interact with customers, so you need to be able to discuss vehicle problems and repairs in terms that your customer can understand. You need to provide service recommendations. The big thing is that you have to build trust with the vehicle owner. You'll advise on maintenance schedules. You'll demonstrate completed repairs. Customer service skills are as important as technical skills in many repair facilities. Motive power work has specific safety considerations. Proper lifting techniques for heavy components, safe use of vehicle lifts and jacks, chemical safety and environmental laws for oils, fluids, and cleaners, electrical safety, especially for hybrid and electric vehicles, fire safety with fuels and solvents, proper ventilation for gases and exhausts. And in Ontario, you'll need specific training for hazards like working with air conditioning systems or hybrid vehicle high voltage systems. So what about that workplace? Motive power workplaces typically have some noise from tools and equipment, odors from fuels, oils, and chemicals, moderate levels of dirt and grime, good lighting for detailed work, specialized tools and equipment, a mix of individual and teamwork areas, and while not as loud as some industrial settings, hearing protection is still important because when you're using air tools or working in a noisy environment, protecting your hearing long term is important. Working in the motive power sector offers many advantages. Problem-solving challenges every day, combination of mechanical and electronic work, satisfaction in fixing problems for customers, a wide variety of vehicles and equipment, indoor work with some protection from the weather, transferable skills across many industries, opportunity to specialize in areas that interest you, And finally, to summarize, motor power work in Ontario means working indoors in a repair shop. Physical work that requires specific body positions. Working with a combination of mechanical and electronic systems. Solving different problems each day. Following safety procedures for vehicles and equipment. Year-round, stable employment. Continuous learning as vehicle technology advances. All right, on to our last sector. And last is not least, and I want you to remember that. So the services sector. These are the trades that work directly with customers, and they provide personal services. They make special products. They help people. They create things people want, and they solve customer problems. So now we're going to explore those working conditions in the service sector. The service sector includes trades like hairstylist, cook, baker, horticulture technician. These trades work directly with customers to create products and services for people. Regulated service trades include hairstylist, cook, baker, horticultural technician, child development practitioner, educational assistant. These trades have specific training and certification requirements through Skilled Trades Ontario. The service trades work in various customer-focused environments. Hairstylists work in salons, spas, and barbershops. Cooks work in restaurants, hotels, hospitals, long-term care residents, institutions, and catering. Bakers work in bakeries, grocery stores, and food production. Horticultural technicians work in nurseries, garden centers, and parks. Child development practitioners work in child care centers. Most service trades work in established indoor locations, with the exception being horticulture. A key aspect is that direct customer interaction. You're going to create products or services for specific customer needs. You need to communicate directly with clients and customers. You'll build relationships with your regular customers. You provide advice and recommendations. You ensure customer satisfaction. Customer service skills are extremely important in these trades, alongside of your technical abilities. Service trades have their own physical requirements. Standing for long periods, especially for cooks and hairstylists. Repetitive hand and arm movements. Bending and reaching, lifting moderate weights, ingredients, and equipment, fine motor skills for detailed work, physical stamina for busy periods. Each trade is a physical demand. Cooks may handle hot items. Hairstylists use their hands continuously and may deal with hazardous chemicals. Horticulture technicians do a lot of lifting and work outdoors in all weather. Those schedules vary significantly. Hairstylists will work weekends and evenings. Cooks work in shifts covering breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Bakers probably start very early in the morning. And horticulture technicians usually work during daylight hours. Many service businesses operate evenings and weekends when customers have free time, so your schedule is likely to include those hours. Service trade environments have their own characteristics. Hairstylists work in clean, styled salon environments. Cooks work in fast-paced, hot kitchen settings. Bakers work in production bakeries or retail bake shops. Horticulture technicians work in nurseries, definitely in outdoor settings. Each of those environments have specific equipment, temperature, noise levels, or pace of work. So let's think about this. A cook, they're going to be facing hot temperatures from cooking equipment, fast-paced environment during service times. You're standing on hard floors for your entire shift. You're working with sharp tools and hot equipment. You have close coordination with other kitchen staff, production schedules and timing pressures. Commercial kitchens are busy, active workplaces with very specific procedures and hierarchies. Hairstylists have different conditions. They're clean, well-lit environments. You're standing, though, at a styling station. You work with chemicals for colors and treatments. You use sharp tools, scissors, and razors. You have professional appearance expectations. You balance multiple clients. And salons focus on creating a pleasant customer experience while delivering those technical services. Some of these service trades are affected by the seasons. Restaurants may be busier in the summer, during tourist season. Horticultural work is in high demand spring and summer and fall. Bakeries have holiday rushes, Christmas, Easter. Salons have busy periods before special events and holidays. Those will affect your work hours and income in some service trades. There are specific safety requirements: food and safety for cooks and bakers, chemical safety for hairstylists, tool safety across all trades, proper lifting techniques, repetitive strain prevention, health regulations and inspections. In Ontario, you need specific certifications such as the food handler certification for culinary trades. Working in the service trades offers many advantages: direct customer appreciation for your work, creative satisfaction from making things, opportunity to develop regular clients, and you can use those skills anywhere in Ontario and Canada. You also can specialize in areas that interest you, and eventually there is a potential to own your own business. So to summarize, service trades, with the exception of horticulture, have indoor work environments, direct client interaction, creative and hands-on work, various schedules including evenings and weekends, specific physical demands by trades, year-round employment with some seasonal variation, opportunities for specialization, and business ownership. So here are some of the trades by sector that will help you identify a trade that might interest you. Harleen will provide you with 2 handouts shortly so that you can easily identify a trade or trades that interest you and in which you might want to pursue a career. If you have previous experience in a trade, Iftikham will talk to you later about pursuing trades equivalency assessment, but that is outside the scope of this presentation. So if we look at this, in construction, there's general carpenter, construction craft worker, drywaller, plumber, electrician, hazardous materials worker. On the industrial side, welder, industrial mechanic millwright, machinist, tool and die maker. Motive power sector, automotive service technician, truck and coach technician, auto body repairer. There's also agricultural equipment technician. In the service sector, hairstylist, cook, developmental service worker, horticultural technician. These are just some of the examples, because remember, there's 144 recognized trades in Ontario. So, compulsory or voluntary? In addition to those trade sectors, trades are divided by compulsory or voluntary. And I'm going to talk to you in a minute about what compulsory and voluntary mean. What you need to know is that of the 144 recognized trades in Ontario, 23 of those are compulsory. Now is a good time for Harleen to pause the recording and to hand out Similar Trades Master and the list of compulsory trades in Ontario. So why are some of these trades compulsory? There's safety reasons, to protect public safety, to prevent accidents, and to keep workers safe. There are health reasons, to protect public health, to follow health rules, and to maintain standards. There are building code reasons, meet building rules, follow safety codes, pass inspections. So, what about getting certified in a compulsory trade? To do that, you have to register as an apprentice, you have to complete the training, and you must pass final exams and get your certificate. If you have your experience in a compulsory trade, you get your skills assessed, you show proof of work, you may need more training, and you must pass those exams. For voluntary trades, you can choose to take training programs, get work experience, get certified, keep working without being certified. But you need to know something. Even with those voluntary trades, certification can help you get better jobs and certainly can help you earn more money. Many employers will prefer that you have certification. And there are some Red Seal trades that are voluntary. And in a little while, I'm going to talk to you about the Red Seal program, which is a terrific program here in Canada. So what happens if you're in a compulsory trade and you work without your papers? So your employer is likely to get fined, and the fines are steep. They can be into the thousands of dollars. The employer will have to stop work and shut down work sites. They'll get into legal trouble, and they can lose their business license. You might get fined, you'll have to stop working, you'll get in trouble with the law, and you'll lose job opportunities in the future. So what about those organizations in Ontario's trade system? They work together to support the skilled trades training and certification. Each organization has specific roles in making the system work. Some organizations make rules, give certificates, provide training, and others connect workers with jobs and resources. Understanding these organizations helps you know where to go for the different services. So organizations in Ontario that are supporting the trades include regulatory bodies, training delivery agents, unions, and other supports. Skilled Trades Ontario. This is an organization that's responsible for trade certification in Ontario, including establishing apprenticeship programs. That includes training standards, curriculum standards, and certification exams. They assess experience and qualifications of individuals who have completed an apprenticeship program in Ontario. They issue certificates of qualification for all trades with certifying exams. And there are some voluntary trades with certifying exams. Renewing certificates of qualification in compulsory trades. They maintain a public register of people who are authorized to work in compulsory trades. They do research into apprenticeship and trades. The Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training, and Skills Development is responsible for compliance and enforcement. Please contact the Occupational Health and Safety Contact Center to report unsafe or unauthorized work. MLITSD oversees the trades legislation and regulations, including prescribing or de-prescribing trades, scopes of practice, trade classification, and ratios. So, again, Skilled Trades Ontario is an agency of the Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training, and Skills Development, or MILTSD. They establish apprenticeship programs. They assess experience and qualifications for foreign trained tradespeople. That's the trades equivalency assessment process. They issue and renew certificates of apprenticeship and certificates of qualification. They maintain a public register, and they do research and public policy work. And their website is there. That's a website you're going to want to bookmark because there's a lot of valuable resources there. So, the Red Seal program, I've mentioned this a couple of times. The Red Seal program is a national agreement that sets common standards for many skilled trades across Canada. There are shared rules, so every province and territory agrees to use the same tests and training requirements for some trades. These are uniform standards. A tradesperson must meet the same level of skill and knowledge no matter where they work in Canada. There's easy mobility. Because those rules are the same everywhere, a tradesperson can move from one province to another without needing a new certificate. So here's a really simple explanation for you. Common standards. The program creates a shared set of skills and knowledge requirements for trades, such as plumbing, carpentry, and electrical. There's a Red Seal endorsement. So when you as a tradesperson earns a Red Seal endorsement, it shows you've met these high standards, and that endorsement is added to your trade certificate. It gives you nationwide recognition. Because all provinces and territories have agreed on these standards, a worker with a Red Seal can work anywhere in Canada without the need to recertify or take extra tests. And as you know, that's a big deal. So you're not going to have your credentials assessed again. There's a national agreement, so that means that all provinces and territories in Canada have come together to agree on the same rules and standards. They agree to use the same tests and training requirements. A tradesperson needs to meet the same level of skill and knowledge no matter where they work in Canada. And because those rules are the same everywhere, you can move from one province to another without needing a new certificate. So that's a big part of the Red Seal program. It makes it easier for workers to move between provinces and gives employers confidence that a worker has proven skills and safety practices. In short, the Red Seal program helps skilled tradespeople prove their abilities and work anywhere in Canada with one recognized certification. Now, just because we have to confuse things, not all compulsory trades are Red Seal. Hairstylist, for example, is not a Red Seal trade at the moment. Non-compulsory trades can be Red Seal. Welding, for example. And you'll see that on the list that Harleen provides to you. Where there is a Red Seal next to that trade name, that is a Red Seal trade. So remember, we have 144 trades in Ontario. 23 of those are voluntary or compulsory. 54 of those are Red Seal trades. So you see there are compulsory trades that are Red Seal. Some are, some aren't. Hairstylist is a compulsory trade, but it is not a Red Seal trade yet. They're working on that certification. Then there are other trades that are voluntary in that 54, and they are Red Seal trades. So the advantage to becoming certified in a non-compulsory or a voluntary one of those 54 trades is that you can follow the work. So some areas of Canada may have more work at a time than others do, and that means that you won't have to be recertified again. What about training delivery agents? So they're a school or a training center. A training center is usually run by a union. Training happens at work with your employer, and then there's an in-school component. Training delivery agent is that training center or school, and they have permission from the Ontario government to teach a trade. They follow official training standards, and they can give trade certificates to show you've completed your in-school training. Examples: Algonquin College, St. Lawrence colleges, and these colleges have many trade programs. They teach different trades. They have large workshops, job sites, and they also teach full-time programs. There are union training centers. For example, the Local 93 Carpenters Union Training Center here in Ottawa, the Construction Craft Worker Training Center here in Ottawa, and the Plumbers Union Training Center here in Ottawa. Those centers focus on their specific trade. They teach union members. They have special equipment. They might offer evening classes. So why are TDAs important? You need a TDA because they teach required trade knowledge from Skilled Trades Ontario's training standards. They give official certificates. The government checks on the quality of their training. They know current trade rules. They have proper teaching facilities. When you are an apprentice, you register a signed training agreement with Skilled Trades Ontario. You will work a certain number of hours on the job, and you will track your skills development in your logbook. When you submit your logbook to Skilled Trades Ontario, they then verify that you're ready for in-school training, and you will get an invitation to attend school. After that, you advance in your apprenticeship to the next level. So it's really important to understand here, this is not for pre-apprenticeship training. Those are not delivered just by training delivery agents. But what this is official training that follows training standards and curriculum and is recognized by the government. And this is part of an apprenticeship. You work a certain number of hours. You have your skills signed off by your supervisor in your training log. Then when you're done, a certain number of hours, the ministry or Skilled Trades Ontario will send you notice that you are to attend in-school training. You can't just elect to take in-school training. It is part of the apprenticeship process, and you must be invited to attend. The other thing you need to know about the in-school training is that it's delivered in two ways. Day release or block release. Day release usually means you'll go 1 day a week, and block release means that your employer releases you for about 6 weeks, and you attend school full-time in those 6 weeks. So what about trades unions and trade associations? So a union is an organization that represents workers within that trade. They negotiate with employers. They protect your workers' rights. You have to pay union dues, and it usually comes off your paycheck. You must join if the workplace is unionized. On the training side, they run the training centers. They offer group apprenticeship. They provide safety courses. They provide skills updating courses, and they give certification. For jobs, they'll help you find work. They place members in jobs. They keep work lists. They move members between jobs, and they provide some support during unemployment. One thing you need to know, though, is that those work lists are often based on seniority. And so if you are a new member to a union, you could be on that work list for a while they wait for new jobs or for opportunities to open up. So a trade association is something different. It's a professional organization. Joining is your choice. Members share information, and it focuses on the trade itself. Anyone in the trade can join. All right, so we're going to pause, and I've got some questions that you can discuss, and Harleen is going to present those to you. So one of the things you want to think about is, what sector interests you? Of the trades that you've looked at on the lists that you've got, what trades do you know? What are similar to something that you did before you came to Canada? What about the types of training that those trades might need or you need? Where are you going to work? All of those questions that we've answered in the slides ahead of this. So next we're going to discuss career opportunities in the trades, current labor market trends, in-demand trades, earning potential, and job search supports. Labor market trends are really interesting. So there's a growing need for skilled trades in Ontario. Did you know that 1 in 6 job openings in 2026 are expected to be in the trades? 85 to 90% of apprenticeship training is paid. So it offers a strong foundation for a career. And what that means is when you're in an apprenticeship, you are employed by an employer or the union, and you earn money while you learn. So that's a really, really important thing to understand. There are almost 25,000 employers in Ontario that offer paid apprenticeships. So that highlights the opportunities that are available in the trades. So how come? There's high retirement rates, creating significant job openings across multiple trades. For years in Canada, guidance counselors at school, teachers, even our parents told us that the only good job, you were only going to get a good job if you went to university. They forgot about the trades and they forgot about the earning potential in the trades. And so for a long time, people weren't entering these careers. There's increased infrastructure spending that's driving construction-related trade demand. So if you think about that, here in Ottawa, there are plans to build a new hospital. There are plans, well, they're underway for phase 2 of the light rail system. They are planning on building a new public library. There's lots of things going on in Ottawa that is infrastructure spending. And now that we're talking about how to offset some of the potential job losses out there because of the tariffs, one of the things they're talking about is what we call shovel-ready jobs. So that will mean that the government is spending money to make sure that there are construction projects, infrastructure projects, those kinds of things will get funding and jobs will be available in those. There's a tech evolution requiring continuous skill upgrading. If we think about cars, we've gone from combustion engine to electrical. Those electrical cars, there are a lot of the older automotive service technicians that know how to fix them. And so there's a real advantage for somebody who learns how to fix those electric cars or the hybrid cars. There's lots of demand for that. Many trades offer competitive starting salaries. So from $16 to $25 an hour in your first few months. And once you're certified, you'll earn significantly more. So here's an example of some of the in-demand trades. Electricians, plumbers, carpenters, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning technicians, heavy equipment operators, welders, industrial mechanics, elevating devices mechanics. There is huge demand for elevating devices. Pipe fitters, steam fitters, automotive service technician. Again, you're specialized in electrical vehicles. There's going to be high demand for that. Truck and coach technicians. As our supply chain grows, we need more truck and coach technicians to fix those trucks. Heavy equipment technicians, agricultural technicians. I have a neighbor who works for John Deere. He has had a really hard time finding apprentices to fix John Deere farm tractors. So those are some of the areas where there is demand in the trade. So now you're going to get a chance to use the documents that Harlene's given you. The similar trades master and the list of compulsory trades. And you're going to get a chance to use this information to look at the labor market information. First up, we have the case study. Maria recently moved to Ottawa and she's really interested in becoming an industrial electrician. She wants to learn more about the job prospects, salary, and requirements before making her decision. So I'm going to ask Carlene now to pause my presentation and to walk you through the next set of activities that you're going to do using labor market information. This will help you be able to identify labor market information, and it'll help you identify sort of your job prospects, salary, and requirements of a trade you're interested in. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is, well, it's not the last thing. I still have the financial management stuff to talk to you about, but this is about job search support. I need you to understand that as part of the Credential Recognition Program, and because you're a client of the Credential Recognition Program, you're eligible to get some job search support through our wonderful partner, World Skills. We have a World Skills skilled trade sector-specific information specialist. Her name is Ibtisam, and you're going to meet her later today in her recorded session. She can provide you with one-on-one employment counseling that will help you determine if you have the skills, education, and experience necessary to enter a career in the skilled trades. And if you have international experience in a trade, we're going to help you navigate the trades equivalency assessment application. So next up, financial support and resources. This is important because we know as you get started in a new career or as you're navigating certification processes, sometimes your earning potential isn't what it will be. So there's the Ontario Apprentice Development Benefit. To qualify, you need to be attending class on a full-time basis, registered as an apprentice with the ministry. When you begin your in-class training, and remember I said you have to do your apprenticeship hours, and then the ministry will invite you. Once you start your in-school training, you'll be given an application package that includes all the instructions on how to apply and the application form. This is really important. You are not eligible for this benefit unless you are attending in-class training with a TDA. Eligible costs can include basic living expenses, dependent care, commuting and travel, expenses for living away from home, maybe the trade that you're in, the Algonquin and St. Lawrence don't offer the in-school training, and maybe you have to go to a different city for a few weeks for that training. They'll help cover those living expenses. The other thing is special assistance for people with disabilities. There is an apprenticeship loan. It's available to apprentices in designated Red Seal trades. OCLF does not administer the apprenticeship loan. It's up to $4,000 in interest-free loans per period of technical training. Typically, you will go to school for at least 2 periods. They will pay tuition, tools, equipment, and living expenses. No payments or accumulated interest until you complete your apprenticeship or leave your apprenticeship. So if you decide partway through that that apprenticeship is not for you, that you are not interested in that trade, and you leave your apprenticeship, you will then have to make payments, and you will start to accumulate interest on that loan. And that's really important. And the other really important part of this is, just because you leave one apprenticeship and go to another, and you've had one of these loans, does not mean that you won't have payments or accumulated interest on the previous loans. It applies to apprenticeship in that trade that you've initially signed the training agreement for. There is a tools grant. It's a non-repayable, so you don't have to pay it back, taxable cash grant available for Ontario apprentices. It will help pay for trade-related tools and equipment. You have to have a registered training agreement, and you have to have been registered as an apprentice for at least 12 months. You have to complete or been exempted from level 1 in-class training on or after April 1, 2020. When a program describes a payment as non-repayable taxable cash grant, it means the following. Non-repayable. You won't be required to pay that money back. Unlike a loan, which has to be repaid off over time, this grant is provided as financial support without any repayment obligation, assuming you meet all the eligibility requirements. Even though you don't have to repay the money, it's considered income by the government. That means you have to report this on your income tax return. That can affect the amount of tax you owe. Essentially, the grant is treated similarly to wages or other forms of income for tax purposes. It is a cash grant. It provides directly in cash rather than in kind or as a voucher. You take the money and you use it towards approved expenses, tools and equipment you need for your trade. These terms are common in government financial support programs. In this case, the Ontario Tools Grant is intended to assist you by covering the cost of necessary trade tools, with the advantage that you don't have to repay the funds, but with the caveat that you must include the amount on your income tax refund. You typically receive an email from Employment Ontario that will contain the application link once you have a signed training agreement. It serves as both notification of eligibility and a direct route to the online application portal. Online application takes about 10 minutes. You will need to provide personal details, your name, date of birth, mailing address, contact information, your apprenticeship details, client ID, trade sector, trade name, and banking information if you opt for direct deposit. It's important to ensure that all your information is current and accurate to avoid any delays in processing. Okay, now let's look at the amount. Depends on the trade you're apprenticing in. Motor power trades are eligible for up to $1,000. Construction trades, $600. Industrial trades, $600. Service trades, $400. So they're going to verify all of this information against your registered training agreement. If there's anything wrong with your application, the ministry may ask you to correct it. So now I want to talk to you about the Credential Recognition Program financing option. It's specifically designed to help you as you begin your career in Canada. To qualify, you don't need to have a job, assets, or a credit history in Canada. We evaluate your circumstances to determine your ability to make payments both during your study and training period. Our financing products are registered with the Credit Bureau, meaning you will establish a positive credit history through the program. Positive credit history in Canada allows you to rent an apartment in a better neighborhood, obtain a car loan, or a mortgage to purchase a home. We provide funding to support credential assessment or retraining for a different career. The loan is approved based on your anticipated future income, assuming successful employment in your chosen field of study or training. What you need the loan for will be unique to your personal situation, as well as your career goals. You can use the money for any of the costs associated with becoming employed in your field. So, you can use it for tuition, textbooks, computers, costs associated with the process of registration, with a professional regulatory body, Ontario Trades Equivalency Assessment application fees, Ontario apprenticeship exam fees, registration costs, tools, equipment, work clothing, personal protective equipment needed for your work. And in some circumstances, we can provide you with short-term living expenses. The program is affordable. It considers possible changes to income levels while you're working to re-enter your occupation in Canada or to pursue a career in a new field. As a result, there's a flexible product has been designed in conjunction with Desjardins Credit Union to respond to your unique household circumstances and support your success from start to finish. Staying in touch with us throughout your journey is important. We can help you if you experience changes in income or other circumstances. Now I want to talk to you about this. So it is a loan. You do have to repay it. Right now, the longest loan term that we have is 7 years. All loans need to be paid in full by 2032 because this is a government-funded program. You can borrow up to $30,000. As I mentioned, it considers changing income levels. You can pay it off at any time without penalty. The interest rate is the prime lending rate plus 1%. So right now, our loan rate is 5.95%. What you need to understand is that there are other personal loans out there that you can access, but their interest rate will be higher. Okay? If you go and get a personal loan from a bank or a personal line of credit, it is very likely at this point in time that you'll be paying between 8 and 11%. So this is a special program, and it's designed specifically for Credential Recognition Program participants. So I want you to think of our financing options as investing in your future. It's specifically designed for newcomers and immigrants. You don't need to have a Canadian credit history to qualify for financing. It's based on your character. We'll request character references from you. They'll tell us about your reliability and your work ethic. We'll discuss your career path with you and your prospects for employment after completing your training or accreditation activities. We provide support when it comes time for you to search for employment. We do that through our partners at World Skills. So again, all 4 agencies are working together to support you. If you think you can't afford a loan, ask yourself what you might be risking your future earning capacity by not pursuing your education or accreditation. And instead, you accept work that doesn't match your education skills or experience. Perhaps you're even taking on survival jobs. Make sure that you're able to find employment that matches what you're worth. I need you to remember that the Ontario Student Assistance Program is also a loan that will have to be repaid when you're finished upgrading your education. If you withdraw from school, you will have to repay that OSAT loan. To be approved, you're going to have to contribute $3,600 towards the cost of your education. You don't need to do that with the FCRP loan. The cost is the amount that students are expected to contribute. What about using your savings? Well, what are you going to do in case of an emergency or an unexpected expense? What about an expensive car repair? How will you pay for emergencies? What if a family member back home gets sick and you need to go home? How are you going to pay for that trip? If your answer is credit card, I want you to keep in mind that a credit card will have an interest rate of 19% or more. While you're in the process of obtaining a license or receiving additional training, you're only going to be charged interest on the amount you've used. So we can approve you up to $30,000, but if you've only used $5,000, you will only pay interest on the $5,000. The interest-only payments are available while you're working on your licensing or retraining. Once you've completed that training, there's a 6-month grace period to continue with the interest-only payments. After that time, your line of credit will be converted to a personal loan, and you will be required to make regular monthly payments. Depending on timing, you may have up to 7 years to repay the financing through our program. Just remember, we're here to help you meet your career goals by providing access to financing to help pay for credential recognition or training in your new career. One of the things I want to say about this loan, this financing option that is specific to the skilled trades. If you elect to take a pre-apprenticeship training program, whether you look at La Cité and some of the ones that they have, whether you look at one of the union pre-apprenticeship programs, whether you look at, I'm trying to think, Algonquin has some. So there are pre-apprenticeship training programs, and I believe Iptizam will talk to you about those in her session later. We can help cover living expenses during that training period. So typically these are pretty short-term trainings. They're a great introduction to a trade. If you have no experience in the skilled trades and you really, really, really want to make sure that you have some skill development before you go and find an employer to sign your training agreement, pre-apprenticeship is a great way to do that. And again, talk to OCLF because we can help you with living expenses during that training period. In fact, we have done for a couple of clients who are working on their electrical pre-apprenticeship. So the other thing is, we know that managing money can be overwhelming. Everything is different. Rules, acronyms, institutions, even the culture around spending, saving, and credit. You might be worried about making mistakes, spending too much, or being taken advantage of. I want you to know that a solid budget helps you reduce the financial stress by organizing expenses, avoiding overspending, prioritizing savings for your future goals or emergencies, and building a sustainable spending plan. We also know finances can be tight while you're getting settled and finding work. Budgeting is a great way to manage some of that. So when you make a monthly budget, you give yourself a clearer picture of your financial situation. It compares your income to your expenses. Some people think of a budget as something that puts limits on them, but it's really a way to take charge of your finances. Once you know what you can afford, you can focus on setting priorities for spending and savings for your goals. Harleen will provide this stuff to you, and you can go away and work on your monthly budget. So you're going to need the budget worksheet. You'll need a calculator or the calculator app on your phone. You track your income and spending information. You fill in each of those budget lines with the dollar amounts for income and expenses. You add up your total income and your total expenses for 1 month. You subtract your expenses from your income. That's your bottom line. It will tell you how much money you have left over at the end of the month. Or if you are spending more than you're receiving. So if you have a budget, a monthly budget, and it says that you're spending more than you're receiving, but you really want to do apprenticeship training, you really need to come and talk to OCLF because that's that financing option available to you. The other thing I want to say is when you want more information on budgeting and savings or on credit in Canada, we have 2 workshops that we would love to invite you to. So savings, Harleen will provide you with the handout. You're going to use the handout and list some of the things you buy often. This will help you see where you're spending more money than you realized. Then you can think about how you could reduce that spending, and when you reduce that spending, you can put that towards savings. So again, if you want to know more, as part of the CRP supports, we invite you to attend our Invest in Yourself workshop series. There are 4 workshops that we offer. The first one is budgeting and savings. Then there's credit in Canada. Then we also have one called income taxes and income benefit programs. And the last one we have is protect yourself from frauds and scams. And we'd love to have you attend. So if you want to sign up for our workshops, please email info@oclf.org. Now, my presentation is finished, and I want to thank you very much for sticking with me to the end. I hope you learned something from my content, and I really hope you enjoyed the activities I provided. Take care and enjoy the day.